So, how does cold water immersion activate brown fat? Brown fat, also known as brown adipose tissue, is a unique type of fat in our bodies that has gained attention for its potential metabolic benefits. And cold water immersion is one method that can activate and stimulate brown fat. So, let's dive right in and uncover the fascinating science behind it. To understand how cold water immersion activates brown fat, let's first clarify what brown fat is and how it differs from white fat. Unlike white fat, which primarily stores energy, brown fat is metabolically active and generates heat. It contains a higher density of mitochondria and is rich in iron-containing proteins, giving it a brownish appearance. Brown fat's primary function is to generate heat by burning calories, a process known as thermogenesis. Now here's where cold water immersion comes into play. When we expose our bodies to cold water, it triggers a process called cold-induced thermogenesis. The cold temperature stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which activates the release of certain hormones, such as norepinephrine. Norepinephrine acts on brown fat cells, signaling them to generate heat by burning stored fat and glucose. As cold water immersion stimulates the activation of brown fat, the mitochondria within brown fat cells start working harder. They break down fatty acids and glucose to produce heat, raising the body's overall metabolic rate. This increase in metabolic activity not only burns calories, but can also contribute to improvements in insulin sensitivity and lipid profiles. It's important to note that regular exposure to cold water and the subsequent activation of brown fat can have additional benefits. Research suggests that consistent cold exposure may lead to an increase in the amount and activity of brown fat in our bodies. This long-term activation of brown fat can potentially contribute to weight management, energy expenditure, and overall metabolic health. It's worth mentioning that cold water immersion is not the only way to activate brown fat. Other factors such as cold weather, physical activity, and certain foods or supplements can also stimulate brown fat activity. However, cold water immersion remains a popular and accessible method for activating brown fat in our bodies. So there you have it, the science behind how cold water immersion activates brown fat. By subjecting our bodies to cold temperatures, we stimulate the release of norepinephrine, which signals brown fat cells to generate heat through thermogenesis. This process can contribute to increased calorie burning, improved metabolic health, and potentially aid in weight management.
If you want to experience the benefits of cold water immersion or contrast water therapy, use my code DAVE150, DAVE150 at checkout at thecoldplunge.com. Save $150 off your next purchase. That's DAVE150 at thecoldplunge.com.